Players in top 8 contention. A win keeps them alive, a loss does not. They're waiting for the green light from us, and we'll be underway here in just a sec.
I have typically liked green-white tokens against aggressive decks without a whole lot of evasion. Nissa and Gideon are both so problematic for being able to proceed in combat, and with a little bit of breathing space, you start deploying your 5s, Archangel, Avacyn, Virtuous, Gearhulk. There's really no comparison to the other deck. For the other side of the table, really important for Caleb to get on the battlefield early, turns 1 and 2 with a lot of removal. That's his best path to invalidating the Planeswalkers. If he's able to do that, there isn't a whole lot of recourse for the green-white deck.
A night market lookout is where Caleb does start. For Karl, he's got a Chandler Initiate, a new one from Amonkhet. That is no longer on the battlefield thanks to a fatal push. Now here is a
Oh my
picker.
goodness, it happened! This is the draw right here. And guess what? Guess what Bone Picker's good against? Planeswalkers.
Really good against Planeswalkers.
This is the draw.
And Karl's at 18. This is basically, and Oath of Nissa, this is basically over.
We are done.
Yeah. Cast out Stasis Snare. And, oh no, Karl.
I don't want the miss off the Oath of Nissa to detract from the fact that Scherer had this locked up after turn 2. I don't want any excuses.
Oh, Karl. In for 5 total.
Oh, this is a draw. It's Scherer to 22.
This is Caleb Scherer's Kodak moment.
Yeah.
If he's got a follow-up, which it looks like he does. Dread Wanderer. And another night market lookout. Past the turn back. Low to the ground beatdowns. Missing with Oath of Nissa is a real humbling feeling.
Listen, I don't want to hear it. This game wouldn't have been close. He could have hit any card in his deck. You want to do Gideon to make a night? Whatever.
Here's another copy of Oath of Nissa. Is he going to hit this time? I see lands. There's a hit in there. Karl will take a look at his hand before making his decision. And it will be the new land, a Scattered Grove. There's a Plains. Here's a Tracker. And we're going to go back over to Caleb. Caleb is moving a card to the front of his hand very quickly, so I have a feeling it's a removal spell. That's my best guess. Swamp, Hub, maybe not. Maybe just a couple of lands. I see a Fatal Push. That's what I see.
I don't think I would attack with the lookouts at this point. I would just send in the 3-2 and the 2-1.
That's reasonable.
I like this attack.
Hang tough.
Well, you don't really need to kill the Tireless Tracker straight away. Your Fatal Push is likely to be good down the road. And the lookouts are always good for a couple points. It's not like these cards are now or never.
Mm-hmm. Here's an energy. And pass over to Karl Tashjian.
It's not like you lose the opportunity to attack your lookouts in and then push after the fact once he blocks.
You're always going to get your damage.
You don't really care about Tashjian. If he wants to spend his time making clues and drawing cards, that doesn't matter. It's, you aren't in this big rush.
Here's Nissa. He's going to make a plant token. Elliot Raff, a wonderful judge in the house.
I think this is now not quite lethal, but
pretty close.
If he just Fatal Pushes the plant and attacks with everything, he falls to 6. He's forced to block the 2-1. He can't even block the lookouts.
We'll see if Caleb sees this play.
Yeah, and just attack Tashjian with everything.
Which is what he's going to do. 2 triggers from the lookouts. Tashjian's going to fall down to 6.
He has to block the 2-1, and you still have the lookouts for next turn.
Well, he's going to... he almost blocked the lookout, which he can't do. He's got to block the Dread Wanderer.
Yeah, I like the way Caleb has navigated this game. I think a lot of people would have had the instinct last turn to just go ahead and just attack and lose one of the Nightmare lookouts and then Fatal Push the Tracker. And I think the line that Scherer's taken here is just so much better.
Dread Wanderer will come back from the graveyard, and that's going to do that. Caleb Scherer's going to win game number 1 here over Karl Tashjian. Mono Black Aggro up a game very quickly here over Green White Tokens. Turn 2 Bone Picker. Hello.
That was great. And that I think is Scheer's recipe is get on top of the game early. If he can do that, the Planeswalkers aren't very good. And if the Planeswalkers aren't very good, I think he has an edge in the games.
Well, we are going to take a look at the sideboards here as these two players are having some fun. 2 Ajani Unyielding, 2 Nissa Vital Force, 2 Tireless Tracker, 2 Watchers of the Dead, 2 Dissenter's Deliverance, 2 Forsake the Worldly, a Cast Out, a Blessed Alliance, and a Declaration in Stone here for Karl Tashjian.
I guess the removal, I mean, a lot of these cards that are here for, playing longer games just are quite poor here, but Cast Out, Blessed Alliance, and Declaration in Stone are fine. But I'm sure this has happened a lot. Most people's sideboards I've been seeing this weekend are a bunch of Planeswalkers and Tireless Trackers suiting up for grindier games, and not a whole lot in people's sideboards for these linear aggressive strategies.
Now we go to the other side of things here for Caleb Scherer, who's got 4 Gifted Aetherborn, 4 Scarab Feast, 3 Harsh Scrutiny, 3 Transgress the Mind, and a singleton Liliana, The Last Hope.
I would present the same 60,
Ooh.
probably. You could talk me into Harsh Scrutiny, but it's not really a matchup for Gifted Aetherborn. It's not like Tashjian has all the removal in the world, so it's not like you just need more creatures for the sake of having more creatures. And the life total doesn't really matter that much. I could see bringing it in just as maybe a better threat than some of the other things. But I don't think Liliana's great here. Scarab Feast is not really what's going on. I wouldn't want Transgress. I might just present the same 60. You could talk me into Harsh Scrutiny.
Fair enough. You've got your options there. Caleb is done consulting his board. It looks like he's getting ready to shuffle up and go again with his Mono Black Aggro deck. A deck you can learn more about over on our coverage page on StarCityGames.com for this weekend. But Karl Tashjian will be on the play here with Green White Tokens. But very quickly, let's talk about Jacob Ball. Not in this match. He's been burdened over here. Not a great weekend here for Jacob, unfortunately. I think he's playing one of our classics. But he had a great year on the SCG Tour last year. He's having a pretty gosh darn good year on the professional circuit this year. And he's got an Energy Reserve token drawn by Star City's own Andrea Radek that he did win for winning the Atlanta Invitational. Couple ways to go about getting this one before I have our next one after our Invitational.
Well, just come out to the SCG Tour, and if you play in any of our Opens or Classics, you get this token as part of the package for signing up. And if you can't make it out of the tour, any order from StarCityGames.com, $5 or greater, will be shipped with this token.
Congratulations to our Atlanta Invitational champion, reigning and defending, Jacob Baugh, who I imagine we'll see at the Roanoke Invitational weekend, the last week of June as well. Tournament we're excited to tell you about what all of our details and plans will be in just a couple of weeks. For now, as these players lay out their opening hand, we learn a little bit more about Caleb Scherer. He'll be on the draw here in this game. We know that he's a former Invitational champion. We know that he likes innovative brews, and most of all, he likes Storm if he gets the opportunity to play it as a 28-year-old from St. Louis. 2 Invitational top 8s, 1 win. And, of course, we do know about the diet that consists entirely of peanuts. Him living out of his backpack, loves to battle with decks that are based around a lot of math. And we can't forget as well, runner-up the Players' Championship last year.
And that was a really cool game to watch there, game number 1, because Scherer plays a lot of combo decks. He, in Eternal formats at least, doesn't really interact in the combat step very much. So watching him very skillfully, in my mind, navigate a game that was a lot of combat, a lot of math on the table, quite impressive.
For Karl, he's going to start things off with a Channeler Initiate yet again. For Caleb, he's got a Night Market Lookout. This looks a lot like game number 1. This time, however, we're going to see Walking Ballista finish off the Channeler Initiate. And now here's Night Market Lookout again. 1 plus a trigger means it's going to be 2. Karl Tashjian down to 18. Caleb Scherer up to 21. We're going to go Karl's way. He'll untap those 2 lands. He's got green and white mana. Does he have land number 3? Was he relying on the Channeler Initiate? There is land number 3. It's a Westphal Abbey. And now here's another copy of Channeler Initiate. It'll get 3 -1/-1 counters. But it can provide some acceleration for Karl if he gets the opportunity. Caleb is showing another copy of Night Market Lookout. I gotta say, this deck right here, this deck's right up your alley. Bunch of stinkers.
Stankers.
They team together to get the job done. A swamp.
This deck, right up my alley.
I know.
Caleb's selection of basic lands, less so.
Bit of an issue. bit of an issue here. Here's a Grasp of Darkness.
Oh, give him the Bone Picker. Bone Picker.
No,
Oh.
Night Market, look out. Cycle cast up. Cycle.
Sir, your cards are too bad to kill.
Yeah.
I will cycle this cast out.
Fortified Village is going to end the battlefield tapped. This is a Sylvan Advocate. That's what we like to call the roadblock.
Yep. Moat.
Yeah. Scrap Heap Scrounger the draw here for Caleb. Transgress the Mind. Caleb wants to see what he has to play against. Tireless Tracker and Gideon Ally of Zendikar along with another copy of Fortified Village. I think you got to take the Planeswalker, most likely.
I think so too. Scheer's not really in a position to attack, and a 2/2 is better than his board. So he doesn't even really need the Gideon for more than one turn.
A 2/2 being better than his board, I think, is going to be the case a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Just going to put that out there.
I don't like the discard spells in Scheer's sideboard for this matchup.
I'm not a big fan. I think you just have to try to kill him as fast as you can.
Because the problem is that all of Tashjian's cards are, it's not like, oh, if I get the one thing that's better than my deck, then I got him.
Yeah.
Everything's better.
Sylvan Advocate, all right, you win. I can't beat that. It's a 2/3, that's it. Unless he's got Bone Picker, he's got some real issues.
All I want is to have the best possible curve, every removal spell that I can get my hands on, and hope that that's good enough. Because we're done. We're already done here.
This one's tough.
A Sylvan Advocate resolved, and he couldn't immediately kill it, and then a Tireless Tracker resolved, and he couldn't kill that, and now we're done. There's just no coming back.
Now, he can play the Scrap Heap Scroungers if you'd like, but you got a Sylvan Advocate that's probably going to become a 4/5 and outclass them. You got a Tracker that's going to be becoming a 4/3 here in just a moment for Karl. So it's going to be really, really tough here for Caleb.
It's not even clear to me that Scherer can just beat Westvale Abbey being activated every turn. I mean, how's he getting past that?
Oh, another Tireless Tracker. Things are getting very hard now. Yep. Ring the bell.
Ring the bell.
Sack a clue. These Tireless Trackers are out of control now. And Archangel Avison, that's probably beatable.
That is overkill. Yeah. That is totally flagrantly unnecessary, unsportsmanlike conduct, DQable offense.
What's the rarity on that thing?
The tack looks safe to me here.
Well, what's the worst that could happen?
I don't know if I would have sent in the other Tireless Tracker, to be honest, because if Scherer here just draws a removal spell for the Tireless Tracker, let's say, or the Sylvan Advocate, he has a reasonable attack.
Yeah, it's fine.
I mean, let's say he kills the Sylvan Advocate, and you either have to trade the Tracker for the Scrounger, or you take 2, 8, 9? I don't know. I think the attack with the Tracker was too aggressive for my taste.
Advocate's going to get in front of a Scrounger. Tracker's going to get in front of a Night Market Lookout. 4 damage is going to come across. Karl Tashjian's going to fall down to 10.
With Avison in hand, I think there's just no way you can lose this game if you just block. You just play conservative.
Yeah, just a little conservative. You got the 4/4 Vigilance Flyer in the air. All that good stuff. Next up, Walking Ballista. Gonna finish off the Advocate. Yeah, because it has 3 damage on it. Okay. Advocate was gonna be a huge problem. Now the Trackers are still a problem, and Avison is a real issue. But also, Karl has worked himself into a situation where lands and spells are good.
Yep.
Basically every draw in his deck is good. I can't really think of a bad draw.
It's like maybe Nissa is about the floor.
Maybe.
Yeah, he's drawing to everything.
Coming on in with the Tireless Trackers. And as we know, Karl has a juicy Archangel Avison in hand. Caleb's going to start with Transgress the Mind. I have a feeling Karl's going to have a response. Trigger. Give all my creatures indestructible. And he's got a Channeler Initiate. Caleb gets that information, he gets out of here. And I'm with you. I think these discards, they got to go.
I'm okay. I'm okay with the harsh scrutinies. They cost 1. Scrying is nice for a deck that can't do anything with its extra lands. Okay, fine. Transgresses, no thanks.
I want Gifted Aetherborn,
No,
though.
thank you. Just as another thing to be attacking with.
Yeah.
I want it more. I certainly want it more than Transgress.
Yeah.
Again, it's not the best matchup for that kind of card because the life total isn't the thing that really matters here, but I think Scherer needs to be threat dense. I think interacting with your opponent's hand when any of their expensive cards beat you and you can't stop the top of their deck is not a good line.
Most importantly, with Gifted Aetherborn, it's a 2/3 that can actually attack through Sylvan Advocate.
Yeah.
Which actually matters to me.
And that to me is a more powerful effect than having the Transgresses.
Yeah. That's what I like. Well, game number 3 about to be underway here. Players already shuffling up, so not a lot of going back to the drawing board for either player. So we'll take this moment to talk about our IQs, an area that Caleb is very, very familiar with over his years here playing in the SCG Tour. It helped him qualify for the Players' Championship before, and we might see that happen later down the road. But for StarCityGames.com Invitational Qualifiers, they got exclusive prizes, $1,000 to the top 8, invitational qualifications like the one in Roanoke in about a month from now. Actually, make that 2 months from now. I take that back. We got SCG points, top 8 playmat, SCG top 8 pins, and of course, registration tokens like you'll see there, the Servo, the Thopter, the Gremlin, and of course the Jacob Energy token as well. Go to StarCityGames.com/IQ to learn more information so you can start your journey to one of our fantastic invitational weekends, an area where you're seeing Caleb Scherer hoist the trophy at the end of 2015 when we were in Las Vegas. You and I covered that final match where he defeated Vidi Wijaya in the finals. It was an epic affair, and it got him to the Players' Championship.
So I could be talked into the Gifted Aetherborns, I think because I like them a lot more than Liliana the Last Hope in this matchup.
Agreed.
Tashjian doesn't kill anything. And getting back any of your creatures doesn't matter because, you know, they're not getting better the second time around.
That's just true. Looks like Karl gonna be taking a mulligan here.
This is the most classic, you know, beatdown match potentially if you want the archetypes right here, where you win game 1 because your opponent isn't ready for the beatdowns.
Okay.
You lose game 2 on the draw, you get humiliated, game's never close for a moment, and then it's, you know, game 3 I'm on the play and they need to have the nuts again.
Yeah. And opponent mulligans to 6.
And
that's
so we're already done. You win 2-1. The game you lost was never in question. You barely eke out the other 2. You go on to the next round.
We're underway. Dread Wanderer here from Caleb. For Karl, it's the new cycling land, Scattered Grove. For Caleb,
I think Caleb might have kept a 1-lander on the play.
this deck probably does that a lot.
Cannot mulligan. Can't mulligan.
I can't foresee this deck mulliganing very well.
He had the spies for the scry plus the interaction.
Why no? Second land. Take that.
No, he drew the second.
Okay. Oh, that card's awesome too.
Oh.
The Glint
right.
Siphoner. He does have a powerful card.
Yeah, I didn't know if Caleb had any rares.
Yeah. Well, Dread Wanderers. I'm done. Dread Wanderers are rare too.
Yeah, Ballista, I guess.
Yeah. There's a few hiding there. Now, Mythics, no way.
Liliana's, which I question being in the deck.
Yeah.
Liliana is giving a lot of respect to your own creatures. You're like, I'm going to get this back and cast it again. It'll be powerful. It's like,
what a Declaration in Stone.
and going after the Wanderer instead of the Siphoner, we'll see. I mean, Siphoner is a nice tool for sure, and hard to block.
I think they come in with it right now. Up to 2 energy. Potential to draw another card here next turn. Harsh Scrutiny. Let's see the grip. Cast out Nissa.
Blessed Alliance.
And a couple of lands.
All right, so the Blessed Alliance would explain why Tashjian used Declaration of Stone on the 2-1. Still wanted to sack that and get it back. I still think that the game's about being played in the short term. It's very unlikely the game comes down to sheer recurring the 2-1 against your deck of 2 3s and 3 3s, and that being the way the game plays out. And I'm really worried about giving Scherer an extra card here off the Siphoner.
There's another Dread Wanderer. Pass the turn back. Over to Karl, who will draw. Hope you might see Nissa here in just a moment.
I don't know. Nissa is... I guess it's the card he has to play here, but this is, again, like we saw in game one, if Scherer can get on top of the Planeswalkers, if he can make enough of a battlefield where the Planeswalkers can't survive one turn, he's in really good shape.
Caleb going to use that energy to draw a card there with the Siphoner, also going to fall down to 19. They think he may have picked up a copy of Walking Ballista.
Yeah, Ballista gets rid of the plan if he wants it, and then that's 4 on the Nissa.
I think there's some interest in getting the Planeswalker off the battlefield.
You know, do you want to use Ballista versus Grasp? That's a question, but I think it's important to get Nissa off the battlefield now.
Some energy for the attack. That's going to jump in front of the Dread Wanderer. He's just going at him.
Oh, okay,
okay, never mind.
That's fine.
Yep. Never.
Totally fine. You're going to use it anyway, then.
You're going to use the front half of Never to return to take care of Nissa. So that solves that. Card's been impressive this weekend.
Definitely. It's been a format that looks pretty amenable to sorcery speed, hero's downfall anyway, and the flashback has been meaningful. I would say much more meaningful than the Awaken on Ruinous Path.
I'm inclined to agree. Cast out. An expensive way to get it done, but it does get it done on the Glint Sleeve Siphoner. So now Dread Wanderer will untap. You see Scherer, he's got 3 swamps, 1 energy, 2 damage coming across, bringing Tashjian down to 12, and a clue token. Here is Scrap Heap Scrounger. Pass the turn. There's a Plains. Pass. We know Karl has Blessed Alliance in hand. Here comes the attack. Is this Archangel Avacyn or just Blessed Alliance? All right, just Blessed Alliance.
You imagine this is a gain 4 and sack.
There goes the Dread Wanderer, a card that Caleb can just get back.
Yeah, but Blessed Alliance is so much time, and if Tashjian can just get some draw steps here and find one of his big plays, well worth it, even if he doesn't ultimately kill that creature for good.
I think a Declaration in Stone may have been the draw here for Karl. The days of Jaroka's Commander behind us, folks. Green and white used to have it pretty easy in matchups like this. May have gotten a little bit more difficult. Gonna cycle land here. Will Tashjian. And now there is Declaration in Stone. Caleb going to start by sacrificing a clue. Draw a card, picked up a swamp. He'll sacrifice his other clue. Draw a card, Bone Picker, which he could cast.
I don't know if I'm a fan of sacrificing the second clue there. Couple reasons. One is you just don't have a whole lot of cards to find that you can cast that turn. It has to be something that costs 1 mana. Second, you have Grasp in your hand, and you're playing against a deck with Virtuous Gear Hulk, which would just lock you out here if that happened. And ideally you draw 1 card. If Tashjian plays anything you can kill, then you grasp that, and then you get your hand size low enough to get the Dread Wanderer back.
That makes sense. Grasp going to take care of the Sylvan Advocate, more importantly, before it becomes a 4/5. Now Walking Ballista is going to die. but Caleb can throw the damage upstairs. Bring Karl down to 9, and then a Bone Picker on the cheap. Yes. Night Marker Lookout, yes. Pass the turn back with a Grasp in hand. Karl will draw. He's going to cycle a land. He'll draw again. He picked up a copy of Archangel Avacyn. Now there's a Channel Initiate. That one doesn't do very much right now. Caleb will untap. Time to draw a card. Picked up a Swamp. He can play that and get back his Dreadwander if he'd like. Here's an act. Here's an attack, excuse me, a trigger.
Swamp is not a shabby draw here, even though Scherer's flooding out a little bit. It's at least something he can play and get the Wanderer back.
Karl going to take all of the damage. Caleb will play a land. He'll get the Dread Wanderer back. And he'll pass the turn. Over to Karl, who's had trouble getting his footing the entire game. All he can do is draw and pass the turn back. It looks like Caleb has a Grasp of Darkness in hand to be able to take care of this Archangel Avacyn. Karl's going to try it. There is Archangel Avacyn. Caleb will show him the Grasp of Darkness. That's so timely in this spot, and that is going to do it. Caleb Scherer is going to win this match here over Karl Tashjian. 2-1. Mono Black Aggro going to take care of green-white tokens, and this improbable run here from Caleb Scherer, it's going to keep on going. One more round left to play. If he wins it, he's in the top 8.
Win game 1 because my opponent's not ready, and win game 3 because I'm on the play.